the honourable member for Perth Wellington.
Thank you, Madam Speaker, and it's an honour to rise in the House today to speak at second reading to Bill S-214, an act to designate February 21st of each year as International Mother Language Day. The bill also concludes the greater clarity line, which confirms that this does not result in this date, February 21st, being a legal holiday. So it is not a statutory holiday, and it would not provide a day off of work for those working in federally regulated industries. And I think that's an important point to make at the outset of this debate. Language, and especially one's mother language, is an important part of an individual's personal story and their identity. And while it's a significant part of who we are personally, it also contributes to who we are as a collective society, who we are as a country as a whole. Canada is home to many different groups of people, including Indigenous peoples, new Canadians, and the children and grandchildren of immigrants. Mother languages, or the first language learned, are important to each and every one of these groups. Au Canada, nous avons deux langues.
In Canada, we have two official languages, French and English. They are by far the most used languages in Canada, and they have a very special legal status that goes back to Confederation. In the BNA North America Act of 1867, the Constitution recognized the importance of ensuring that the French and English languages were preserved and that the rights of both French and English Canadians were protected. If we wanted to succeed in creating a strong and united nation. That is why Section 133 of this Act reads as follows. In the chambers of Parliament of Canada and the Assembly of Quebec, the use of French or English in the debates will be optional. But in drafting the archives, records, and journals of these respective chambers, the use of both official languages will be mandatory. And in any plea or procedure before the courts or issuing from the courts of Canada, which will be established under the authority before the courts or issuing from the courts of Quebec, will also be done in one or the other of these languages. The status of the French and English languages was enshrined in the Official Languages Act, which in its preamble underscores a number of important points regarding our languages in Canada, including the Constitution sets out that French and English are the official languages of Canada and that they have equal status, rights, and privileges with regard to their use in parliamentary institutions and in the Government of Canada. And the Government of Canada recognizes the importance of the status of these official languages and the broadening of their use in order to maintain and highlight the use of these languages. Madam Speaker, French and English are the official languages of Canada, as is set out in our laws and culture. It is important that the current and future governments recognize this fact and seek to ensure this special status of our two official languages and that it be preserved in future. In fact, we have the opportunity to celebrate the French language in Canada, whether it be in Quebec where the Francophones form a majority, or in New Brunswick, which is the only officially bilingual province in Canada. French is a language that perseveres in the face of adversity. That is particularly true in official languages minority communities across the country. We must acknowledge the challenges that these communities face, especially Franco-Ontarians, Franco-Manitobans, Franco-Albertans, and other Francophone communities in the country. In my own riding of Perth Wellington, I am constantly glad to hear parents who are eager to enroll their children in French immersion at a young age. That is something that we must continue to celebrate and to promote.
Madam Speaker, there are also languages that have been spoken on these lands for millennia, the languages of Indigenous peoples. I find it appropriate that we are debating this bill today on Indigenous Languages Day, as these languages hold a special place in our history and should hold a special place in our society as well. As it states in the preamble of this bill, more than 60 different Aboriginal languages are spoken in Canada. These include Cree, Inuktitut, Dene, and many, many more. Sadly, however, many Indigenous languages are at risk of extinction following a long period of discouraged use and disrespect, and sadly, for far too long in our history, outright hostility. We must recognize the shameful parts of Canada's history that includes the efforts to eliminate Indigenous cultures, and as part of that strategy, to end the use of Indigenous languages, especially through the dark history of residential schools. Moving forward, we must ensure these languages are not only preserved, but also celebrated. The Government of Canada has a role to play in promoting their use so they can be passed down from generation to generation. That is why the final report of the Truth and Reconciliation Commission in 2015 stated, and I quote, Aboriginal languages are a fundamental and valued element of Canadian culture and society, and there is an urgency to preserve them. Madam Speaker, we must listen to and act on these calls to action. Symbolic measures are important, but we must also act. Canada is also home to many people who have come here from every corner of the earth, some to escape violence and persecution, some to reunite with their family, some to seek new careers and economic opportunities that weren't available in their homeland. And with them, they bring parts of their culture with them, including their language. And it enriches our nation by building on the diversity and multiculturalism that all of us benefits from. According to Statistics Canada, 7,749,120 people in Canada consider a non-official language to be their mother tongue. Today, as we see Ukrainian peoples fleeing their homeland to escape the Russian invasion, I must point out that a government report on August 31st, 2017, titled Linguistic Diversity and Multilingualism in Canada, in Canadian Homes, a report indicated that 110,580 people in Canada consider their mother language tongue to be Ukrainian. Canada has a vibrant Ukrainian population, and in fact, as we welcome Ukrainians to Canada, it is like welcoming family home. The government should listen to the recommendations provided by the Standing Committee on Citizenship and Immigration and provide a fast and simple process to bring these victims of Vladimir Putin's unlawful attack and bring them safely to Canada. Now, Madam Speaker, this bill in the other place had a fulsome debate, including with comments from my Conservative colleague, Senator Salma Atulajan, herself an immigrant from Pakistan. And she said this during that debate, quote, as a country with multilingualism at its core, we need to recognize and understand the importance of preserving all mother languages. She went on to say, I know firsthand the correlation between my mother tongue and my identity. Speaking Pukto or Pashto is more than a means to communicate. It connects me to my ancestors. It allows me to understand the literature, art, and poetry of my homeland. Madam Speaker, I believe the Senator's words are a beautiful example of how someone can be proud to be Canadian, but also be proud of the culture and the language from which they came. Madam Speaker, mother languages matter. Indigenous language, official languages, and non-official languages that have come here through immigration all matter. Madam Speaker, I thank the House for its time today, and I look forward to continued debate on Bill S-214. Thank you, Madam Speaker.